I'm going to show you the difference in schedules this week, campaign schedules between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And the context here is that you may recall in 2020 and even in this campaign leading up to Joe Biden stepping aside, Trump and MAGA and Republicans love talking about Joe Biden's in the basement. He's not really running a campaign. He won't leave his house. Now, there's different sort of stories to this. The first story is that of 2020, where Trump was holding what were then considered pretty irresponsible rallies in the middle of a pandemic, where Joe Biden was just kind of following medical advice and campaigning safely. And the funniest part about talking about how Biden campaigned from his basement in 2020 is Trump lost to a guy who campaigned in his basement. That's very embarrassing for Trump. This time around, they started with the basement stuff, but very quickly got away from it, because Biden actually was holding a more active campaign schedule than was Donald Trump, who was mostly golfing and hanging out at his various houses. We now have a very different situation. Here is the campaign schedule for this week. Kamala Harris, as you know, held a campaign event yesterday in Pennsylvania with Tim Walz. She's in Michigan and Wisconsin today. She's in North Carolina tomorrow. She's in Arizona the next day and Nevada the next day after that. The only thing Trump has scheduled is a rally on Friday in Montana. That's it. So as it is, the Trump schedule is very, very light, and Republicans are noticing this. And it's a vicious cycle. Trump's lagging in fundraising, and then he doesn't do that many events. The lack of visibility only hurts his fundraising more. Here's a clip from MSNBC about how Republicans are aware of what's going on.
I was saying so eloquently before that, is that his travel has been sparse, and it's been noticed by Republicans who have wondered why he's not out there more. Obviously, J.D. Vance is out there a fair bit as the attack dog who's bracketing Kamala Harris. But Trump has not been in the public eye. He's not been doing these rallies. He had one on Saturday. And you've seen this kind of weird tension here because he clearly does want to be in the spotlight. He went to the NABJ, said some outlandish things, attacked the interviewers, played racial politics all over again, really grabbing the spotlight back, but then he kind of disappeared. And I sort of concur with you. I think he's not adjusted to a different type of campaign.
Yeah, the guy's missing. He's missing and he doesn't know what to do. And instead he's doing live streams with Aiden Ross, known for smelling the flatulence of his guests. That's not a joke. That's what he's known for. J.D. Vance was asked about this on his plane. What's going on with the schedule? Where is Trump? Why isn't he out there? And JD able to say only, well, listen, I'm doing stuff. Pay attention to me.
Governor and Vice President Harris are expected to take a battleground state tour in the next couple of days.
Sure.
Former President Trump won't be making a public campaign appearance until Friday in Montana. Is that a missed opportunity?
No, look, I think I'm making a number of public appearances over the next few days just to drive home the fact that Kamala Harris's policy have been such a failure for normal Americans. I know the president's very busy over the next few days.
Yeah.
One of the things
busy with what? We have no idea. No idea whatsoever. It's not been made clear.
Got to do is, of course, get out there and speak to people and speak to reporters. A final thing that you have to do, of course, is raise the resources. And I know the president's very busy doing exactly that. So he and I are taking a divide and conquer strategy to this campaign.
Yes.
Sometimes
JD is campaigning and Trump isn't. That's the division.
We obviously do events together, but I think we're going to use the fact that we have two people who can both get out there and prosecute a message.
Yeah. And JD's makeup looking really, really good here. One of the things that drives me a little nuts is they constantly refer to Trump as the president. Now, there is a difference. Every time I bring this up, some, genius will write to me and go, David, you keep the title of president for life. I understand that. But there's a difference between being introduced or referred to in person as Mr. President, President Trump. There's a difference between that and whenever you mention Trump, you go, the president is doing this. In that context, anyone would assume you're talking about the current president. Trump is not the current president, despite whatever J.D. Vance may have been convinced to say or whatever the case may be. So I don't know whether just hanging out, not in his basement, but in his house, is going to work well as a campaign strategy for Donald Trump. But even Republicans are noticing that this guy's MIA.